From a little black book to a Blackberry. Research on how technology is affecting relationships in today's society, both personally and interpersonally. Research done by Bailee Vaughn and Josh Lundell. Research question. In what ways does technology hinder relationships? In what ways does it help relationships? Our research goal is to compile and summarize current quantitative and qualitative research from a social science and science perspective to help better understand how technology can positively and or negatively affect relationships within ourselves and with others. Technology on the rise. The nature of technology can be debated whether or not it has a positive or negative effect on our relationship, but there's indisputable evidence that the amount of technology in our lives has increased enormously in the past few decades. Since 1984, the U.S. Census Bureau has asked respondents if they had a computer in their household. In the 1984 census statistics, it exposed that 8.2% of the respondents had possession of a computer in their household. 3 decades later, in 2011, the census percentage grew exponentially to an incredible 75.6% ownership of computers in an American household. The enormous growth and implementation of technology in American households has undoubtedly influenced interpersonal communication and interaction within relationships, but in what way? Now we will take a look at the social impact of technology on relationships. One of the questions we'll be asking is, what makes technology so appealing? One of those reasons is it's because it's gratifying. But why is it gratifying? One of the most influential pieces of technology in the modern age is the mobile phone. Mobile phones and their ability to connect to the internet, as well as the endless amount of add-on applications, has made them a new medium for easy entertainment and sociability amongst a large majority of the population. The abundance of mobile phones and technology within our society makes us question why they are so appealing. To help answer this question, we will look at the study by Lois Lang and Ron Wee entitled More Than Just Talk, On the Move, Uses and Gratification of the Cellular Phone. The two researchers defined 7 principal components of gratification and then surveyed 417 people, asking them to rank the components based on one simple question. Having a cellular telephone is helpful for me. Why? Or how? The 7 components were fashion status, affection and sociability, relaxation, mobility, immediate access, instrumentality, and reinsurance. The respondents were asked to rank the 7 components from 1 to 7. This study revealed how cell phones are helpful to people compared to the traditional landline telephone. But more importantly, it illuminates how the cultural significance and influence of mobile phones extends past the basic functionality of a mobile phone. In this study, people acknowledged, through the 7 components, that a cell phone in fact does act as a social symbol and or a fashion statement. These factors, such as fashion or status, bring an element to a cellular phone that was not present in a traditional landline telephone. These risks that accompany the 7 components of gratification raise social and physical issues within an individual that can be potentially traumatizing. Some of those risk factors include social pressure, isolation, effect and quality of face-to-face communication, misinterpretation of meaning of a message. In this next part, we're going to go into first off, starting with isolation. Isolation through technology, which is a seemingly paradoxical idea when we live in a world today where we are always interconnected with each other via technology. And it's a reality to be connected all the time. But in Sherry Turkle's book, Alone Together, Why We Expect More from Technology and Less from Each Other, she explains how technology is taking us places where we don't want to go. How technology doesn't only change what we do, but also who we are. Turkle highlights this point by explaining that technology enables us to be in constant connection with people, but a connection at a distance, and when it's convenient for us, a type of connection that places a lesser value on traditional face-to-face interaction. She also argues that the mere presence of mobile communication technology might interfere with human relationships and formation. To highlight this point, Dr. Srivastava, professor at Webster University in St. Louis, who examined the social, societal, and human implications of mobile technology, revealed that mobile phones provide a continual sense of being connected to a wider social world. Srivastava concluded that mobile phones might exert these pervasive influences because people associate phones with those wide-ranging social networks. She states, the presence of a mobile phone may orient individuals to thinking of other people and events outside their immediate social context. In doing so, they divert their attention away and presently occurring interpersonal experience to focus on a multitude of other concerns and interests. Her research also suggests that people form important and intimate connections to their personal devices. In turn, the bond with your personal device and its connectedness to the outside world takes away from the face-to-face relationships and obstructs the formation of truly meaningful conversations that happen in person. When your attention is divided between digital and real, the quality of conversation suffers. The internal battle of attention due to a simple presence of a mobile device diminishes the quality of real-life relationships and interactions. But what's being affected? Why is the quality so affected? The quality of communication is much due to the fact that the physical dynamics of a digital conversation differ greatly from a face-to-face communication. Much of this has to do with the lack of nonverbal communication in mobile or technological communication mediums, and leaves much of the interpretation up to the receiver of the message. Nonverbal communication is the body language, eye contact, gestures, and expressive components of communication that are crucial in the complete understanding and entirety of a message. Nonverbal communication can give additional meaning to a message that often cannot be relayed in digital communication. As Jeff Thompson explains in his article, Beyond Words, 55% of communication is body language, 38% is tone of voice, and 7% is the actual words spoken. Digital communication medium such as text messaging or email negate the aspect of nonverbal cues, which is pertinent and can have a substantial effect on a message. So when you're texting somebody or emailing somebody, they don't get the full meaning of something. They don't know, if you're sarcastic, mad, angry, anything. Nonverbal communication cues are very important in communication. So as we talked before about isolation, how technology can take you away from the real world and have you be connected with your mobile device and be in this little personal bubble with your phone and bring you into this outer world. As we previously mentioned, technology can lead to greater feelings of isolation, but when technology is when it's looked at from a science standpoint, it can give us tools to help to decrease the feelings of isolation within homebound people and disabled people. Assistive technology not only has the power to help decrease feelings of isolation, but it also has relevance to the medical field. Doctors all around the world are continuing research on assistive technology and how it can help people with debilitating diseases or disabilities. So now we'll look at the study of assistive technology. Computers and internet may decrease a sense of isolation of homebound elderly and disabled persons, by Natalie Bradley and William Poten. They found that the CHIP program, or CHIP stands for Computers for Homebound and Isolated Persons, helped to create an online community for people who can't leave their home. This study checked to see if indeed the computers and internet help create a more positive lifestyle. After 1 year follow-up, the people involved in this online community, research found that the satisfaction with the amount of contact with other people has increased significantly. The study shows that technology and online communities like this can significantly change the life of people who are isolated and increase their well-being. Science impact. How can scientific research impact the way we use and view technology? The research and creation of new assistive technologies can give people with disabilities the tools to start living a more independent life, which can lead to having more time and confidence to build meaningful relationships. According to the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, around 1 in 5 Americans has a disability, which adds up to around 53 million people. Of those 53 million people, around 33 million have a disability that hinders the ability to complete daily tasks, which shows us that 33 million Americans can benefit from some sort of assistive technology. Take the example of 27-year-old Amanda Baggs. For the most part, people would see Amanda as a nonverbal adult with autism, but to others, she's a YouTube sensation known for her video, In My Language. So we're going to take a short look at this video.
The previous part of this video was in my native language. Many people have assumed that when I talk about this being my language, that means that each part of the video must have a particular symbolic message within it, designed for the human mind to interpret. But my language is not about designing words or even visual symbols for people to interpret. It is about being in a constant conversation with every aspect of my environment, connecting physically to all parts of my surroundings. In this part of the video, the water doesn't symbolize anything. I am just interacting with the water as the water interacts with me. Far from being purposeless, the way that I move is an ongoing response to what is around me. Ironically, the way that I move when responding to everything around me is described as being in a world of my own, whereas if I interact with a much more limited set of responses and only react to a much more limited part of my surroundings, people claim that I am opening up to true interaction with the world. They judge my existence, awareness, and personhood on which of a tiny and limited part of the world I appear to be reacting to. The way I naturally think and respond to things looks and feels so different from standard concepts or even visualization that some people do not consider it thought at all, but it is a way of thinking in its own right. However, the thinking of people like me is only taken seriously if we learn your language, no matter how we previously thought or interacted. As you heard, I can sing along to what is around me. It is only when I type something in your language that you refer to me as having communication.
So as you can see in that last part of the YouTube video, in Amanda's Dynavox, it's these type of technologies that allow the building of relationships for people with disabilities who are otherwise nonverbal. Like I said, Amanda uses a Dynavox computer in which she can type 120 words per minute in a way, and then it translates it into spoken word. She also spends a lot of time on the internet forming relationships and being able to connect with her other friends who also have autism or Asperger's. Sorry, jumped ahead there. With all this talk of assistive technology, what exactly is assistive technology? Assistive technology is any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether acquired commercially, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of an individual with a disability. Assistive technology can be anything from an app to help organize your schoolwork, if you have a learning disability, to a medical equipment that can help someone control a prosthetic limb by sensing a signal in the brain. Congress passed an Assistive Technology Act in 1988, and the National Dimension Center of Children with Disabilities summarize perfectly the impact that this can have on the U.S. It summarizes, as technology has come into play in an increasingly important role in the lives of all persons in the United States, in the conduct of business and the functioning of the government, in the fostering of communication, in the conduct of commerce, and the provision of education, its impact on our lives of more than 50 million individuals with disabilities in the United States have been comparable to its impact upon the remainder of the citizens of the United States. Any developmental in mainstream technology would have profound implication for individuals with disabilities in the United States. Now let's take a look at the study at the contribution of assistive technology. According to the study, students with learning disabilities in higher education, the use and contribution of assistive technology in website courses and their correlation to students' hope and well-being by Ty Heilman and Dwight Orlick Shemesh. Sorry if I butchered those names. College-age students with learning disabilities require special methods of studying which typically require more time and effort, causing fatigue. It also states that college students with learning disabilities do much worse in school than their non-learning disability peers. They are reported to be more worried about grades, higher levels of emotional distress, lower self-esteem, and more isolation. By simply giving these students other individuals the tools to gain more freedom and independence, we can help them become more self-confident, which we all know is a building block for meeting people and forming meaningful relationships. These are all simple ways that technology can help develop our society into a more inclusive and accepting place. Excuse me. The beauty of assistive technology is that it can be helpful in an array of different ways, from helping the speechless speak, even simply helping the individuals gain a better self-concept, in which how an individual perceives himself. It is important because most students with learning disabilities tend to have a lower self-concept because of the struggles they face. Assistive technologies have been shown to drastically improve the life of students with learning disabilities by offering different ways to make up for their deficiencies, which can in turn help them have a greater overall sense of well-being. There are still people who have reservations about the dependence and availability of assistive technology. These assistive technologies that help people communicate are only tools. These people still have to understand the basics on communication and most often don't want to rely on these devices for life. So they are working hard to learn how to communicate without them. Along with concerns about dependency, there are other questions about availability in assistive technology devices. According to the World Health Organization, there are many communities around the world where only 5 to 15% of people who rely on or could benefit from assistive devices can have access to them. They do have access to them. This is something that Assistive Technology Act is working to fix. They're trying to get more of these devices funded by insurance that will take the burden off of the family. By controlling these factors and doing more research on these technologies, I believe that we can truly unlock all of the advantages of assistive technology and slowly start to see more people gaining confidence and self-esteem in the relationship building skills. So in conclusion, technology has its ups and it has its downs, but as you can see from the research studies below, the research studies previous, they're working on the negatives to make them become positives from a social standpoint and from a science perspective. Thank you very much. That was Bailee Vaughn and Josh Lundell. Thank you.